Happy Wednesday morning, everybody. Welcome into another edition of Morning JOX. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell here of your morning right here on JOX. This is our final live show of the week, so we will be back on Mondays for the 4th of July holiday. I imagine a lot of you probably doing the same, and based on the I guess the lack of traffic that I see on my way to and from work. Granted, well, I guess on the way to work, it's 5 in the morning, so there isn't really any traffic. But certainly on the way home, seems like a lot of you probably already in that direction, already enjoying a little bit. We're going to have some fun today. Just trying to have some fun college football conversations, do a little bit of brainstorming together, and just start start a little bit of a debate here about a few things. So coming up a little bit later on in the show. I wanted to try something new today. Again, we're just gonna have fun today. It's a Wednesday that feels like a Friday, but it feels like a Friday before you like graduation or something, right?
Yeah, right.
You got like a little bit of the senioritis thing going. I know for a lot of people that are planning on going to the beach, going to the lake, things like that this weekend. So we're just gonna have some fun with you today. So we have some college football scenarios that we're going to go through, and we're going to present them in a this or that kind of scenario, right? Of what's more likely to happen this upcoming college football season. So a lot of fun conversations to be had there a little bit later on in the show. But as is customary now, we have to start off with some news from the recruiting trail, because that is where things are happening left and right in the world of college football. So we know, going back, just to quickly recap, it's been a very good couple of weeks for Alabama football as they have started to climb from what was, at this time last week, I believe the 34th ranked recruiting class, something along those lines, and now a recruiting class that is in the top 10. And we've seen them pick up a couple of 5-stars. We've seen them pick up another receiver yesterday. They had another receiver the day before that. There's another receiver that they're expecting to get today as well. So it's been a very busy time for Kalen DeBoer and his staff, and that certainly continued on yesterday as they added another receiver to their stable with 3-star wide receiver Brian Williams Jr. He's from Orlando, Florida, 6'4", 195 pounds. He chose Alabama over Penn State, Florida, and Notre Dame. So another nice pickup there for Alabama. He goes alongside Owen Cabell, who they had picked up 2 days ago out of Nashville, and they picked him up over Vanderbilt and Illinois. He was a 4'4" guy with a lot of speed. Now you go and get a guy that's 6'4", and once he puts a little bit of weight on, if we're talking 6'4", about 215, 220, that's going to play in the SEC.
Yeah, 1,000%. When you look at, you can't really chisel out these guys. Again, they're young, but you can't recreate just 6'4", almost 200 pounds just any day of the week. But the fact that Alabama's it's almost next man up mentality when it comes to replacing the receiver room, because we know, Jeremy Bernard, he's getting older. And you look at the exodus in the portal this past season with a lot of these guys. It's kind of just building that receiver depth, because that looks, to me, as a former receiver, it's a room that can afford a lot of bodies. Because it's the wear and tear. It's the kind of you have a lot of different positions on the field based on formations that, hey, if I need, Ryan Williams to line up as Z this week, we got it. There's a lot of rotation, and you go back, there was a Heisman Trophy winner at Alabama that was at one point a wide receiver 4 amongst other first rounders. So you got to look at that lineage, and it just continues. And you look at Kellen DeBoer's system, it's very wide receiver friendly. You're going to get your touches. And it's just making the most out of it. But I think that these younger guys are starting to get it, especially at the receiver position of, okay, I could find myself, 20 to 25 touches even as a freshman, and it increases as I get older. But again, it's just Alabama's still hot on the recruiting thing.
Yep, they are certainly having themselves a time right now. So if we go over and look at 247, Alabama now up to number 7 in the 2026 recruiting class. So, and as I said, they have another target that they are waiting on today, but we'll get to that here in just a minute. But you said something there, Damian, that if you could just repeat it for everybody. So you said generally good to have wide receivers in your recruiting class.
Absolutely. You can never have too many.
You can never have too many.
No.
Can you have too few?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. I was just curious. Well, unfortunately, Auburn is now in a situation where they don't have any wide receivers in their
I beg your pardon?
recruiting class. Yes. So Auburn did, unfortunately, they got some good news yesterday, but they also got some bad news. And so you did have another flip from Auburn yesterday as four-star wide receiver Denarius Gray. He flipped from Auburn to Kentucky. So
I beg your pardon?
That one might sting a little bit. Yeah, but unfortunately now Auburn, they have no wide receiver commitments in the 2026 recruiting class. But he's a 6'2", 190-pound receiver from Boynton Beach, Florida, and he had been committed to Auburn since January of last year, so 2024. So he was actually the first player to commit in the 2026 class for Auburn, and he has now flipped from Auburn to Kentucky. So that's not ideal news if you're an Auburn Tigers fan, because, again, a lot of things can change, just like all of these positive things we've said for Alabama can certainly change and go the opposite direction. The same can be said for Auburn, right? They can clearly pick things up, especially if you start off with a hot start on the field this season, this fall. You're going to start rising up the recruiting rankings. But as it stands right now, I'm just telling you what the recruiting people tell you. Auburn is 89th in recruiting. They are currently 2 spots ahead of Liberty. Hugh Freeze's old school. They are 1 spot ahead of UConn, and they are currently behind Louisiana Lafayette, San Jose State, Nevada, and Idaho, and the newest member of the Pac-12, Texas State, in recruiting. So, again, not where you want to be.
No.
At some point, though, you want to feel like you can get a win, right? Because, again, we can sit here and we can talk about, well, go and win games on the field. And that will take care of things. And they're not going to finish 89th in recruiting. They're not. But at some point, you would like to get a win at this point early on and feel like you could get some momentum. Maybe.
Right. At this point, it's almost a something is better than nothing situation. And, fair or unfair, you've got to get it done on the field. But you just kind of wish during this, the slower months you had some sort of momentum where it's okay. Say it's something different for having a conversation like they're in the 40s or 30s, and just kind of you can see that there's enough wiggle room to make some ground up. But it seems extremely difficult to be in the bottom 80s and expect it to be a top 15, top 10 within a span of 4 to 5 months. But that also adds a little bit more pressure to what the regular season not just needs to be, but it has to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and again, it's all said and done in December when they actually sign on a dotted line. But you kind of have that gut feeling of, ugh, this is... I know it's slow. I know it's off season, but there's something that we need to at least hang our hat on and say, all right, we're going to be fine right there. But and again, maybe Auburn's kind of the sleeping giant where they're like, hey, we're not even going to promise all these recruits like, hey, this is what you're going to get. We'll wait until December and see what happens. But it also flips the calendar to this fall is so important to what the future can be. Because think about this. Not trying to put any bad omen on them, but what if you have another disappointing season and you go into signing day and it's just, oh, well, we're probably going to be looking for another coach, or we're going to
it's going to be ugly.
And you're going to lose guys in the portal. You have nothing that has shown you from June to July that was like, oh, well, we're getting them in here. But I don't know. Maybe this year's roster is the one that is the focal point, and let the chips fall where they may. But it adds almost an unwanted pressure for what this season has to be for Auburn.
Well, and I think 2 things can also be true, right? I think we can sit here and say they're not going to finish 89th in recruiting. They're going to be better than that, right? They're going to be significantly better than that. But I think you can also at this point, and again, if I'm wrong, I'll gladly admit it and eat crow, in December when this happens. But I think it's also fair at this point to say, you probably don't need to expect that this is going to be a recruiting class on the level of the last 2 years. That doesn't mean it's not going to be a good recruiting class. Doesn't mean you're not going to get guys out of there that aren't major contributors and potentially going to be star players for Auburn football. But I think I think it's fair to say that at this point, right? You're going to be significantly better off than you are right now, but you're probably not going to be talking about having a, flirting with the top 5 recruiting class or even a top 10 recruiting class. Now, you might be able to get up there in the top 15, top 20, something like that. I think that's maybe more of a realistic expectation. Again, I could be totally wrong on this. At this point, you're still trending in the wrong direction, right? It's not like, oh, okay, well, we talked about it. Recruiting's, not going very well, but we're slowly starting to pick the ball up and keep it moving. And now it's, okay, you're still losing commitments and, you need this momentum. And I think, again, I'm just using Alabama as an example because you've seen this a lot lately. But what has started to happen as you see these recruits continue to commit to Alabama, they keep feeding into each other and they keep going on social media and they are talking to the other recruits and they are encouraging the other recruits and they are all teasing, oh, y'all haven't seen anything yet. You think this is it? Just keep waiting. We got more guys coming. And they feed into that in each other and they recruit each other. And that's one of the things that would, be a little frustrating if you're an Auburn fan is you don't have that right now because you just don't have the numbers. You don't have the guys that have bought in and said, oh, yeah, let's go and take over this recruiting class and really lead a charge for Auburn. Now, this could ultimately mean nothing for Alabama. But, I mean, it's, again, when Paul Feinbaum goes on Mac and Cube and says this is, could be one of the greatest recruiting runs we've seen in recent history of college football, people start to pay attention. And so I know that that's frustrating for Auburn fans, but again, it is going to be better than it is right now. It's just it may not be on the level of the last 2 years. But the good news, again, this isn't recruiting necessarily, but you did get somebody out of the transfer portal. Yes, people can still come out of the transfer portal. But Auburn yesterday, they pick up a former 5-star safety in Jacoby Matthews from Texas A&M. So he was the number 1 ranked safety back in the 2022 recruiting class, which was, if I'm not mistaken, that was the best recruiting class of all time that Texas A&M
right?
had. Huh?
It was the best recruiting class money could buy, right?
Right, correct. That is how I remember it. But he had 42 tackles last year, 4 pass breakups, and 1 interception for the Aggies. So he now comes over and joins a already pretty young but talented secondary there for Auburn. So that is your good news. But again, that doesn't count in the recruiting world, but in transfer portal world, that's a good.
And also,
piece.
You have
some thoughts?
Just a question.
Uh-huh.
He hasn't played football since 2023. He was in the transfer portal the entire year of 2024. He's young, but it's kind of one of those things. If he spent an entire year in the transfer portal, didn't play at all, but I think the connection to DJ Durkin, it's probably, I've seen what he can do. But there's also has to be a reason why he sat in the portal for an entire year, even after being the number 1 safety coming out of high school. So I kind of have a question of, okay, how impactful will he really be? Is it more of a depth thing, or is it, okay, maybe a year was just for him to get his mind right and, to maybe train, but he also hasn't stepped on the field in over a year.
Yeah, but he has 5 stars.
So did Jackson Arnold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nico as well. Nico Iamaleava was a 5-star, from what I remember.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes
he's good though.
Stars don't really mean anything until the ball is snapped.
I
listen, all I'm saying is it's physically to be out of the game for that long, not hitting anybody. But again, he knows DJ Durkin. He's played in his system, he's played defense for him, but it's just kind of one of those, why were you in the portal for an entire year before you got picked up? It's just kind of a question mark. Maybe it was an academic thing, but
maybe so.
They didn't go there to play school anyway. He was bought.
Well, we'll see. Thank you, Damien. I'm not the bad guy today.
No, I was just like, I'm
not the bad guy.
But
Is it fair,
though?
I'm trying to spread some good news for the Auburn fan base, and you're just trying to bring them down.
No, but
it's a couple days before a holiday, David. People can't handle this, man.
But
he has 5 stars. Just let him be good.
But is it fair? Is that not a fair question? Of you spent a whole year in the portal, like even DJU got picked up out of the portal before, you know.
Oh no, it's very fair. It's not, and this is not a. It's a very fair thing to say.
Right. It's, you know, if you were.
Yeah. No. If you were that good, you would have been picked up.
Thank you. That's all. That's all I also wonder.
Yeah. No. I totally understand. I'm sorry, Auburn fans. That's Damien. He's a big Alabama fan. So what do you? What are we gonna do? Sorry about that. But that's some big recruiting and I guess transfer portal news technically. In Auburn yesterday, and hopefully either for Alabama or Auburn, there's going to be some big recruiting news around lunchtime today. So we'll tell you who you need to be keeping your eye on, as well as start looking at our what if scenarios for the upcoming college football season. Some of you chiming in about recruiting on the text line as well. So a lot for us to get to. We'll get to it all next on the Wednesday edition of Morning JOX. 621, welcome back in to Morning JOX. Conrad and Damian here with you on your Wednesday morning. Appreciate you making us a part of your day here on JOX. So this time of year, it never stops. So some big recruiting news for both Alabama and Auburn yesterday, and hopefully some good news for one of the teams today. But if you're just now joining us, Alabama, they picked up a commitment from 3-star wide receiver Brian Williams yesterday. He commits to Alabama over Penn State, Florida, and Notre Dame. 6'4", 195-pound receiver from the state of Florida. Auburn yesterday, they lose another commitment and 4-star receiver out, a wide receiver in their 2026 recruiting class. And he was also the first player to commit to the Auburn Tigers all the way back in January of 2024. But the good news, if you're an Auburn fan, as you did pull a safety out of the transfer portal and former 5-star Jacoby Matthews out of Texas A&M, who put up some okay numbers a couple of years ago for the Aggies. But as Damian pointed out, he was in the transfer portal for the entire 2024 season. And that typically doesn't happen when you're very good.
Just present it with information.
That's
all.
That's exactly how Damian said it, so don't be mad at me. But you do have today some exciting news potentially for either Alabama or Auburn, as Cedarian Morgan, who's another 5-star wide receiver, he is going to announce his decision today at noon, so we will have live coverage for you today on 3-man front of Cedarian Morgan as he makes his commitment. The projection is still that he's going to end up with Alabama, but I know Auburn has been heavily involved, and they certainly seem to have a pretty good chance of landing his services. But he's going to choose between Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Florida, Clemson, and Colorado. So again, the projection right now, the crystal balls, the recruiting experts are leaning Alabama, but Auburn certainly has been heavily involved in his recruiting as well. So a big day for one of the schools in our state potentially, as Cedarian Morgan will announce his decision coming up at noon today, and we will have that for you on 3-man front. So some of you chiming in with your thoughts, 205-834-9450 on the courtesy GMC text line of what's going on with recruiting right now. Let's see. Tim. Oh, well, this is technically recruiting. Tim from Coleman, he says, I've been out of pocket the last couple of weeks, so you'll have to forgive me, but as an Alabama fan, I really want to know if we landed Damian's fandom.
I will announce my top 5 the Friday after SEC Media Days. So in about 2 weeks, just buckle up.
Okay. Well, there you go. There you have it from the man himself. Let's see. We have Nick's picks chiming in. He adds to the point, talking about stars and the fact that they don't mean anything. He says Cam Ward had 0 stars coming out of high school. So I'd say I think J.J. Watt had like 1 star when he went to Wisconsin, and he's all-time great. Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't mean anything. Now, sure, if you have 5 stars, are you typically more likely to end up being an NFL player and, having a great career and stuff? Absolutely, but there's been plenty that I can think of, at least in recent years, that just didn't work out for him, but sometimes their names escape me. Let's see. Somebody says the money must not have been right for the Auburn receiver flipping to Kentucky. Maybe so. Maybe so. Let's see. Somebody chimes in. First off, has anyone checked in on Don Don? And as an Alabama fan, I want to thank Bruce Pearl for turning Auburn into a basketball school. Roll Tide. And Damian, just go see the Walk of Champions in Titletown, and you will definitely pick the Tide.
I like that.
See, do we need to keep convincing him, though? I just insist. If we're really trying to sell Alabama to Damian, it's...
Listen,
what more? Like, I just don't understand what else you would need to see from a program.
Just patient. I'm just patient.
Okay.
Just patient.
Drake chimes in. He says, guys, what's going on with Auburn losing recruits to Kentucky? That just doesn't happen. Well, we'll get an answer right now from Don Don as he joins us this morning. How we doing, Don Don?
Hello, Conrad. Hello, Damon. How are y'all?
Doing well. I had it real quick because yesterday when we were at Social Taco for 3-man front, you did say that you already were expecting Auburn to lose their wide receiver and have a commitment flip. So you had already prepared yourself for this news.
Oh, yeah. This is actually, guys, been known for about 2 weeks. And Conrad, it's just been a funny morning. I'm texting in to y'all, and Damien is throwing barbs at me on the text line.
Well, he's a big Alabama fan now, Don Don. So, he's just... I know.
I can tell.
He's the bad guy today.
He might as well just go ahead and announce it now, Conrad.
Think he's holding out for a little more NIL.
I was just presenting information and facts.
I know,
That's all
buddy.
I was doing.
Hey, exactly, buddy. And your facts are right. We're struggling and everything, and this is a year where you're just gonna have to prove yourself on the field. And you made a comment a minute ago. If we have a losing season, Freeze is probably done. We've got to start all over again.
Probably so.
And the problem with that is you'll probably lose your big time players you got on your roster now if they fire him.
Well, it just depends on who you hire as head coach. I mean, if Josh Heupel goes down to the Plains after Hugh Freeze, I mean, I think the receivers will be okay.
That's true. Yeah, you might like to stand with you being a Heupel disciple. I mean, that's your guy.
Well, that's next year's recruitment. We'll figure that one out.
That's right. Well, guys, hey, and Conrad, y'all keep on going, man. But yeah, you're still behind Georgia. Georgia's killing it too now.
No, they absolutely are.
Georgia 9-3, Conrad.
Well, we got to make things interesting on the show, Don. Appreciate you chiming in here. Yeah, I got a little bit of pushback on that yesterday. Even though I will say, if you listen to 3 Men in Front, Mike Griffith definitely seemed to agree more with my sentiment of Georgia missing the playoff than Brian Kelly being on the hot seat at the end of the year. And I absolutely think Brian Kelly's on the hot seat if they don't make the playoffs. So
Brian Kelly's on the hot seat if they lose game 1.
I do not necessarily disagree with that, but appreciate y'all chiming in on the recruiting front. Let's see, Darren from Tennessee, he says, Conrad getting so excited for the season. Roll Tide. I know a lot of people really getting excited. We'll see in a couple weeks if you can say that or not. You have a decision to make. But we'll get to more of your text as we continue on here with the show. But as we teased a little bit earlier, we have some college football scenarios, and we want you to play along as well. So we're going to present these scenarios, kind of break them down, our thought process on what we think is more likely to happen this upcoming season in the SEC and around college football. But you can play along 205-834-9450. That'll get you on the courtesy GMC text line, and we'll be back. And that is all coming up next on JOX. 6:33. Welcome back in the Wednesday edition of Morning JOX. We're here with you until 7 o'clock when we hand you off to McElroy and Kublick in the morning. Conrad Van Order and Damian Mid. Your morning. We are done after this, so we will be done for the week. We will be off Thursday and Friday. All of our shows will be, as we take a little bit of an extended week. A lot of you probably doing the same, so we appreciate you tuning in today, and you can tune in for some great best ofs of anything you may have missed here recently on JOX, and we will all be back on Monday as we continue to probably talk about recruiting and hopefully some better news for Auburn, and we'll see if Alabama can continue their hot streak. But with it being a holiday weekend, wanted to just have some fun and continue to, start gearing up for college football season because it will be here before we know it. And so we're going to go through some college football scenarios. And so I will give some to Damian. He will give some to me. And it's pretty simple. It's just going to be, is this more likely to happen or this more likely to happen in the upcoming college football season? So you can play along 205-834-9450. Chime in with your thoughts if you like. All right, you want to start off with an Alabama or Auburn one, Damian?
Let's start off with Auburn.
You want to start off with an Auburn one?
I do.
All right, Damian, in your opinion, we'll just start off at the top. In your opinion, is it more likely that Auburn will go 10-2 this upcoming season, or is it more likely that Auburn will go 5-7 this upcoming season?
10-2. I don't think that. I do believe the collection of talent that you have, as inconsistent as you were last year with a lot of the same pieces, that you could still find those same ways to lose football games. I think 10-2 is more likely than 5-7.
Okay, so it's more likely that Auburn maybe exceeds expectations a little bit than it is that they have a disastrous season.
Yes.
So Hugh Freeze is not getting fired.
I do not believe so.
Okay.
In that scenario.
Okay. All right, we'll do an Alabama one next. Is it more likely, Damian, that Alabama goes undefeated in the regular season, so 12-0? Is it more likely that Alabama goes undefeated in the regular season, or is it more likely that they lose to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma again this season?
It's undefeated, man. I'm wearing a Vanderbilt shirt right now.
Mm-hmm.
I find it extremely, extremely difficult to believe that, one, Vanderbilt will get Alabama at home. Now, Oklahoma, we can have a discussion depending on where Oklahoma is at that point. But I lean more to them correcting a lot of things that they corrected last year. I think a lot of it is addition by subtraction at a lot of positions. And I would lean more of them putting the complete package and running the gauntlet of the regular season than them to lose. You could say they could lose 2 games, but it's not going to be to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma again.
Okay. How about our buddy John Mateer?
Heisman? Yes. Lock it in.
Okay, so is it more likely that John Mateer wins the Heisman Trophy, or is it more likely that Jackson Arnold is able to win the SEC's Offensive Player of the Year?
Oh, man. You got me. I'd still lean John Mateer winning the Heisman.
Okay.
I would still lean John Mateer winning the Heisman. I
see, because I'm just saying, Jackson Arnold, he's competing. It's tough, right? Like, he'd have to beat out Nussmeier and Arch Manning and some of these other guys. But, John Mateer, then you're competing against the entire country.
True.
So you're not a Jackson Arnold believer is what I'm getting. So they're going to go 10-2, but Jackson Arnold's not going to be that good? I'm sorry. I'm trying to get you in trouble. I'm sorry.
I think that because once I've been presented with it, I know how bad it can get. And kind of going back to my hot take yesterday when I said that one of the projected starters in the state of Alabama would be benched before season's end, I lean more towards it being Jackson Arnold because it's already happened.
Right.
Whereas Ty Simpson, the guy that's been there forever, I just find it very unlikely that it would happen to him.
Okay. Okay.
That was a good.
Okay.
Question.
Yeah, I thought that one might throw you off a little bit. All right, you got some?
I do indeed, Conrad.
Okay, I've got some more we can get back to, but I want to hear some of yours.
I got you. Conrad, in this scenario, do you think at season's end there will be more mid-season firings of SEC head coaches, or no SEC head coaches are fired? Which do you think is more likely?
So no coaches are fired, or coaches are fired in the middle of the season?
Multiple SEC coaches are fired in mid-season.
But, okay, so it doesn't count if I say multiple get fired at the end of the season.
No. Nobody gets fired at the end of the season.
I would probably say it's more likely nobody gets fired than multiple get fired in the middle of the season. Because I'm just thinking, I don't think Hugh Freeze would get fired in the middle of the season. I don't think, like, the guys that I think are really on the hot seat, I think Sam Pittman's the only one that could potentially get fired in the middle of the season if Arkansas if they start like 1-5 or something like that, right? But I don't think any of the other teams are going to be. No, I'm going to go with no coaches get fired because I just don't think you're going to have multiple. Now, multiple at the end of the season, I think that's much more likely.
Okay. All right. It's very close, but it's more on the actual gameplay situation.
Uh-huh.
It's more likely that Mississippi State has at least one SEC win, or Vanderbilt has 5.
I love it. That's kind of similar to a question that I came up with as well. Okay. So I'm sorry. That was good. All right. So let me make sure. All right. So Mississippi State just has to win one SEC game. Vanderbilt has to win 5.
5.
I'm going to go with give me Mississippi State to win. I mean, they had a couple games last year where like they showed a couple things. I mean, golly. It's rough because, I mean, the two that I would think you would win would be Arkansas and Missouri, and they're both on the road.
Time out. Which one? Hold on. Let me cut the music. You said they're going to beat who?
I'm saying if I'm looking at Mississippi State's schedule and picking who they would beat in the SEC, I think the two most likely would be either Arkansas or Missouri.
One of those is wrong. Definitely
But both
wrong.
of those, okay, but those, you can admit, those are the two.
Why do you hate Arkansas so much?
I don't hate Arkansas. I'm just saying, you think they're better than Ole Miss, Georgia, Texas, Florida, Tennessee, or A&M?
No.
Okay, exactly. So that's why they would be in that category. Golly, I'm going to go with one. You could get lucky in one of those games, but Vanderbilt winning 5 SEC games, no.
Okay.
Because then, I mean, at that point, we're talking about Vanderbilt. You know, they're probably winning 8 games this year, which would be incredible. I just don't. I mean, they would have to be, hypothetically, Vanderbilt would have to be.
How many of those did they beat last year?
3.
So I only need 2 more.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Mississippi State to win 1.
Hey, that's your prerogative.
It is. All right, let's
It's your prerogative.
yeah. All right, we've got more of these. We'll go we'll take a break real quick, but we have your text as well. I know some of you chiming in with your thoughts and more thoughts on the whole recruiting thing. Some people maybe choosing to kick a fan base while they're down a little bit this morning, but we will it was Damien's fault. He started it with all this that safety's not that good for Auburn. But it is what it is. So we'll get some of your reaction next, as well as some more college football what if scenarios for the upcoming season. You're listening to Jox. 6:46 here on your Wednesday morning. Conrad and Damian with you on till 7 o'clock when we hand you off to McElroy and Kublick in the morning. We've been going through some what-if scenarios the upcoming season, and we will get back to that in just a second. But if you are just now joining us, we also had some more recruiting news to keep you abreast of, as Alabama picked up another wide receiver yesterday. 3-star Brian Williams committed to the Crimson Tide, and they have their sights set on another receiver today, as do the Auburn Tigers, as 5-star receiver Cedarian Morgan will announce his commitment at noon today. So we'll have that coverage coming up on three-man front. Predicted to go to Alabama, but as we've talked about, Auburn needs a win at wide receiver here in this class, and this would be a big one if they're able to pick up Cedarian Morgan later today. But on the Auburn front, you did lose a commitment in wide receiver Denarius Gray. He flipped from Auburn to Kentucky yesterday. But the good news, if you missed it for Auburn fans, is you did get a transfer out of the portal and former 5-star safety Jacoby Matthews from Texas A&M. So that's where things stand right now on the recruiting front. And we have a lot of your texts coming in as well at 205-834-9450. So I have two more questions I want to ask Damian, and then we'll get to some of these texts real quick. All right, so two more likely scenarios for Damian. So this one's a little bit of a crossover. It's college football and NFL. So for you, Damian, do you think it's more likely this year that the Tennessee Volunteers will win the SEC championship, or the Tennessee Titans will make it to the AFC championship game? You don't have to win it. You don't have to win it. You don't have to make the Super Bowl, but you have to make it to the AFC title game. Is that more likely than Tennessee winning the SEC championship in football?
It is more likely that the Tennessee Titans will be playing for the AFC championship.
I'm glad then, because I was going to just make it the Titans win the AFC South, but that seemed too easy because you would have been all over that.
Oh, in a heartbeat. It's a gettable division. Besides Houston. But, I mean, with Indianapolis and Jacksonville, it's a year-by-year basis with them. But, listen, as a Heupel disciple, he's going to have to really, really coach his tail off this year. And I just think that's a very slim chance that the Tennessee Volunteers will be playing in Atlanta. But when it comes to the NFL, you just got to get lucky a few more times. And listen, we don't have Will Levis as our quarterback anymore. We got Cam Ward. And we got some pieces around him that can help that young brother succeed.
Okay, so is it more likely the Titans win the Super Bowl or Tennessee wins the SEC championship?
Oh, it's Titans winning the Super Bowl.
Still.
Oh, 1,000%.
Okay, so not high on Tennessee this year. Volunteers.
Who knows?
Big Titans guy. Okay.
Huge.
I'm just curious. All right, I have one more for you, and this is honestly, this was the first question I thought of when I came up with this idea yesterday. It has nothing to do with college football.
I'm here for it.
All right, so which of these rumors is more likely to be true, Damian? The Tom Brady and Sydney Sweeney dating rumors, or the rumors that LeBron wants to get traded back to Cleveland to finish his career? What is more likely, that Tom Brady and Sydney Sweeney are actually dating, or LeBron is going back to Cleveland?
LeBron going back to Cleveland. Tom Brady loves the game too much. He ain't got time.
Hey, so apparently they were having a great time at Jeff Bezos' wedding. A lot of people are going crazy about that.
That's just people with money having a great time. It's just a party.
Okay.
Don't read too much into it. Tom Brady loves football too much. He loves the game. He loves the game. The streets keep calling him.
So LeBron back to the Cavs?
Yeah, 1,000%. Cleveland, this is for you.
I will say quickly, it is hilarious, the whole Bronny situation, and now here we are a year later, and he's kind of looking around like, I don't think I can win a championship here. I kind of want to get out. It's like, well, buddy,
you put this together. You orchestrated this.
So it's kind of your fault. Okay, well, there you go. Those were just a couple fun ones that I wanted to get Damian's take on, but a lot of you chiming in with your thoughts on some of these questions and imposing some of your own on the text line, so we will get to those now.
I actually had just one more.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, what you got?
Which is more likely scenario? Taylor Swift performs at a Super Bowl.
Okay.
Or Travis Kelce proposes to Taylor Swift at a Super Bowl.
I will go Taylor Swift performs at the Super Bowl because she will have more opportunities to do that.
Fair.
I could see. I'll just throw this out there. I'm not gonna be surprised. Well, I'm not gonna be surprised if they are in it. But as of right now, I don't. I wouldn't be picking the Chiefs to make it back to the Super Bowl. I don't think. And I mean, he's probably got 1 or 2 years left.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll go Taylor Swift performing at the
Okay.
Super Bowl as being a little bit more likely. But okay, some of you posing some questions that we'll get to here on the text line. Somebody says, how likely is it that when the Iron Bowl gets here, Alabama is either 11-1 or 12-0 and Auburn is 10-2? Personally, I believe that's exactly what's going to happen, and it'll set it up where if Auburn wins, they can make the playoffs.
Man, I would love it. I would love it.
Sign me up for that.
Yes.
Whatever. And I think a lot of fans, look, I get it. A lot of Alabama fans probably don't want Auburn to ever win anything. A lot of Auburn fans probably don't want Alabama to ever win anything. But I think we can all agree that not only in the state, but for the health of college football in the SEC, having those games like we did back in the 2010s where it felt like essentially every other year almost whoever won that game was going to have a chance to go and play for a national championship. We absolutely want to have that back. So, yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible. And, you know, there's certainly a scenario where it's a winner take all, right? Whoever wins that game could be in the playoff and whoever loses could be sitting at home. So I think we would certainly be happy with that. Let's see. Somebody else chimes in. They say, what started all of this with the Auburn recruiting was the Hugh Freeze golf story. And that's fair. That certainly raised some eyebrows, but that was friendly fire. That was someone on the Auburn message boards that did that. That wasn't us trying to do a hit piece or anything. That was an Auburn fan just going in there, and
that information was given to us.
That Auburn fan was fed up, and he said, I'm getting to the bottom of this, and don't think he liked what he found. Lindsay chimes in with, the chaos these questions are causing, crying emoji. Yeah, well, they're trying to have some fun, have some
Let's got the wheels turning.
Stir it up a little bit this morning. Let's see. Someone says, is it more likely that Auburn recruits anybody this year? Well, they got their freeze 5 right now. Or they got 6.
All right.
They got 6.
It's better than none.
Better than none. That's right. Let's see. See, now people are just taking shots at Birmingham Southern because you're shopping around your fandom, and that, you know.
I don't need to get personal.
We just don't need that.
Right. I'm a free agent.
Let's see. Jamie chimes in. The Auburn Tigers are getting exactly what they deserve. They fussed and argued about Gus Malzahn and Tommy Tuberville at Auburn for years. Now they've got coach in Hugh Freeze, who beat Nick Saban 10 or 12 years ago. They're getting exactly what they deserve. A big roll tide.
Just beat them while they're, like you said, just kick them while they're down.
We have somebody chiming in. Man, what a game it would be if you had Auburn and Alabama in the Iron Bowl with the playoff spot on the line. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that would it's been a while since that game meant something for both sides at the same time.
Yeah.
It would be nice to be able to get back to that. So hopefully that's what we get later this fall. But appreciate all of you joining us today. We are off the next couple of days. We'll be back on Monday. Best ofs the next couple of days. So appreciate you making Morning JOX a part of your morning each and every day here on JOX. McElroy and Kublik in the morning is coming up next. We're back.